All right. Well, good afternoon. Real quick, I just have to start this part over on Instagram, and then I'm going to go off on this, this fun little event that I found, that happened to me today. Yeah. So this is the situation that I've run into. This morning, I got a call from somebody that they were telling me, "Hey, look, I've got this land over in Shreveport, Louisiana that I want to sell. I found you on Google. Found me on Google. All right, well, it's not uncommon. I get calls like that. For somebody to just come out of the woodwork and immediately want to work with you, that's some pretty good marketing. And don't get me wrong, I've got good marketing. Still raises a little bit of a concern. So, and just for a little bit of background, this is in Louisiana. My realtors, fellow realtors in Florida, this is not new. So I'm sure that you've heard of this, or you've actually been a party to it, or been contacted about these. So here's the thing: it's actually a scam. And what they do is these people will reach out, pose to be a landowner, and I'm telling you, or even a property owner, not necessarily just land. And the thing that's interesting about this is that, I mean, they're good. So whenever you see the potential caller ID, maybe, and then the name behind it, it actually had this person's name. So I was like, all right, well, yeah, that could be legit. Maybe they just don't know anybody and they've owned this land forever. Well, that's not the case. So we talk a little bit. We talk about commission, and I explain what my commission is, what all that includes, what services that provides, and how it includes my marketing photos, everything else, right? And they didn't even hesitate. They're just like, okay. And I said, all right, well, and to be fair, I would say that one thing that you might want to consider is offering compensation to a buyer's agent. And typically that's going to range between 2.5 to 3%, blah, 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 whatever that might look like. So, um, as that says, we're talking, and they go and say, "Great, I'm going to go ahead and list, send over the paperwork." I went, "Whoa, this is just too damn easy. So what can I do?" I'm like, "All right, fantastic. I'll get the paperwork together. Get me your email addresses, and I'll just need copies of your identification so that I can turn this over to my broker and get this all online for you." And he's like, "Well, I don't want to give out my ID. I would prefer that we have a contract first." Okay, all right, let's keep adding these red flags up. So with that, I said, "Well, that's all well and good, but for compliance, I'm going to need your ID." And he said, "Okay, well, I can get that to you tomorrow, but I'm kind of out of town today." All right, so never mind the fact that you're texting with me right now, and I'm sure your phone has a camera. All right, sure. So at that point, I'm like, all right, something's just really not legit. So before I go in here and I start typing up all the paperwork, I'm going in and I start checking not only public records, but then I go to skip trace, and that's what it's called whenever you're looking up information for somebody. Is I'm skip tracing that owner, trying to say, all right, is this the person? At that point, nothing came up. Right, the number that I have been texting today has no record, nothing. Right, the addresses don't line up. I'll look up that owner. They're in Georgia, so find their phone number, reach out, call them, and explain the situation to them. And really nice guy. He's like 79 years old, lives in Atlanta. Had no idea this was going on. And he's like, "Well, what would you do in my situation?" So at that point, this is where the real estate investor kicks in. And I start telling him, all right, well, here's some game for you. If you want to at least try to minimize somebody coming over here and doing this, because let me recap and explain to you how they're doing this. They look for properties that are owned outright, that have no liens or encumbrances. Okay, that means no mortgages, no mechanics liens, nothing like that. Own the properties. Means it's a more than likely a very clear title, so they can rush through that process. And these people will pose as the owners. They'll force a fake ID. They'll do all these different things to make this happen, and forge the notary documents and everything else. Because whenever they get that check for $450,000 that they were probably about to get on this land, they're gone. And now It comes down to the title insurance company and everybody else to where this owner, should he become aware that his land was fraudulently taken from him, now he's got to go through the painstaking process to get it all back. So, all that to say, I explained to him, I said, one thing that is semi dangerous, in my opinion, now this isn't legal or tax advice, is to have a property that you own outright with no liens or encumbrances. And I know what you might be thinking. Lee, why would I want to go over here and put a mortgage on my property? Record the mortgage yourself. All right. You don't have to make payments to yourself or do any of that other stuff. You can record a private mortgage for X amount of dollars. Now, there are also a few other advantages to doing that as well. However, the main thing is to prevent fraud on your title or title fraud. So, all that to say, I would encourage you, if you own properties outright, go over there, look and see, and connect with your local attorneys, title attorneys. And if you don't have one, send me a message, say, Lee, I need a referral. I'll send some contacts to you. And what they'll do is they'll draft a mortgage promissory note, and then they'll have it recorded. And it'll be recorded at the courthouse for whatever length of time that you want, for whatever amount that you want. Now, I hope that that's helped somebody today. And if it has, feel free to like, share, comment, give me some kind of, you know, thumbs up, just anything to show that this reached somebody and help to provide a little bit of information that might help them in the future. Let's see, that's really all that it was. So I'm going to go get ready. We've got a late night tonight trying to get out of town. And in that meantime, I hope that y'all have a fantastic week. If you need anything, I'll be accessible mostly by text over the course of this week. So, and I do have 1 or 2 coaching hours available. So if anybody needs an appointment, feel free to give me a call. I'll be happy to put something on the books for you. And yeah, y'all have a great day. Take care.